It's time for Waking Up with Wesley. Today's forecast and weather-wide discussion with WLOX First Alert Weather's senior meteorologist, Wesley Williams.
Hello there, South Mississippi, and thank you for waking up with Wesley. I'm senior meteorologist Wesley Williams. So you're waking up to a day that's already in progress. Parts of Mississippi have already had tornadoes reported, and we're expecting scattered showers and storms to continue on and off through tomorrow before we get to some cooler, drier weather Sunday. I want to take you right to the Futurecast, and we'll kind of load the front of this video with some forecast information. Let's time out some of these thunderstorms as we go into your Friday. So let's start the clock at the current time, 8:30 in the morning on Friday. And as we start the day, what we have going on is primarily some thunderstorm activity near and north of Hattiesburg. There might be some spotty showers along our coast, but it's nothing compared to what's happening north of us. And as we put this into motion, we're just going to kind of let it run through. You'll notice that some scattered showers and storms do pop up along parts of the coast as we head into noon today. And but most of the activity, where is it? Is it on the Mississippi coast or is it north of the Mississippi coast, right? And that's what the takeaway is here. Most of the activity that happens on Friday probably going to happen to the north of the Mississippi coast. That's probably why you don't have as high of a rain chance as you might expect for today. Here's a more zoomed in view of our rain chances, around 40 to 50%. You know, if these were rain chances for like Jackson, Mississippi, Vicksburg, Mississippi, they'd probably be at like 90 or something like that. But for us on the coast, 40 to 50% as we start the day, some hit or miss showers in the 6 southernmost counties. And then we go to noon today, seeing a little bit better rain chance, getting closer to that 50, 60, if not 70% chance. So we're seeing that increase in rain chance heading into the midday and the afternoon. And we'll see some on and off periods of rain showers this evening, tonight, and tomorrow morning. Once we get past tomorrow morning, a cold front arrives in the middle of the day. You can literally see the wind shift. Look at these little winds coming in from the northwest. That's because that's behind the front. If I rewind this just a smidge, let's rewind to, let's say, about 10 in the morning. That's probably a good stopping point because that's around 9, 10 in the morning is when the front's going to move through, and you can see the wind shift in the lines. These are the lines coming in behind the front, the cooler, drier winds from the northwest. Meanwhile, you still, ahead of the front, still have these warmer winds coming in from the south. So when you see that wind shift, that makes it very easy to tell exactly where the front position is. And so there's your cool front. So we're basically going to see the cool front arrive by noon tomorrow. And that's how we're going to get those rain chances to decrease as we head into Saturday evening. So you see that drop in the rain chance by noontime. You can see another drop in the rain chance by Saturday evening, and then it's pretty much gone after that. Like I said, though, we do have some concerns to monitor. There is a flood watch in place for parts of South Mississippi, Pearl River, Hancock counties. Underneath that, through tomorrow morning, somewhere in that highlighted area, 2 to 4 inches of rain with isolated higher amounts. So that's where the heaviest rains are expected to set up, primarily there. That's also, oddly enough, where we've seen the most severe weather so far today. In the last 6 hours, there have been reports of tornadoes, confirmed tornadoes, west of Hattiesburg, as well as north of Jackson. So the day already getting started early with severe weather across parts of our state. And I wonder if I plot on this, we'll take a look at the rain over the last 24 hours. And yeah, this is 24 hours. Let's do a little bit different. Instead of 24, let's go 6. So yeah, forget 6 hour, 24-hour rain. Just in the last 6 hours, that zone already kind of proving the forecast true. Areas that are going to be north and west of coastal Mississippi, that's where we're seeing some of the heaviest rain already. I know that this says 24. I can change the header to say 6. There we go. So in any case, there's a look at the past 6 hours of rain. Some places near Hattiesburg have picked up more than 2 inches of rain, maybe even more than 3 or 4 inches of rain west of town. So on the Mississippi coast, we haven't really seen as much. But that's what we expected. We expected on the coast for us to just kind of see hit or miss, and then for there to be more concentrated rain and storms north of us. So this morning, it's a really stormy morning in Hattiesburg. You can just see if we pause the radar and switch it over to the more detailed radar view, get a close-in look. Look at that on Highway 49 in Hattiesburg this morning. If there were any MDOT cams there, I know that we have access to some. I might pop one up on the computer just to give you a visual of what we are going to likely see in some parts of coastal Mississippi later today. So let's pop up that visual of the MDOT website and get to some of the cameras in Hattiesburg just to give you an idea. I know we all know what rain looks like, but I think sometimes when it comes to weather forecasts, seeing is believing. And so if you're watching this cam here, which I'm about to pull up, it's going to show, look at all of that. I wonder if we might get a better one. This is okay. This has much more car on it. I like that. Let's full screen this for you. And we might even see some flashes of lightning. So this is Highway 49 at Convent, which is to the north of Hattiesburg, northwest. There have been some recent lightning strikes in the vicinity of this cam. Obviously a very wet morning there. You can take another look at one of these other views. The rain's coming down a little bit more heavily in this particular part of Hattiesburg, Highway 49 at Classic Drive. Again, that's mainly north of town, so not quite in Hattiesburg proper. Look at you can see the puddling in some of those areas on the side of the road, so already getting some heavy rain in those areas there. So just wanted to give you a quick visual of that before we move on. Look, the rain is already happening. I know it's kind of easy when you look out your window and you see nothing and you're like, well, it's not raining anywhere. But it's like, we got these cams, we can give you that ground truth, that visual confirmation that yes, it is raining somewhere just north of us, some heavy downpours in those areas to our north. Now, in our 6 southernmost counties, we actually are seeing a few light rain showers, but the big picture here that I want to point out and kind of track for you is this line of rain showers and storms. We see it just kind of situated right here, and it's not moving very much to the east. It's just kind of very, very slowly drifting eastward over the last 6 hours. But that's where we've seen the majority of the thunderstorm development across parts of Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama over the last 6 hours. What I want to do is switch this over to water vapor satellite imagery, where we can look at all of the moisture, which is important. Those colors really do show how the moisture really popped in the atmosphere. Storms really became even more developed in the last 6 hours in this zone. But one other thing that you watch for in the water vapor is the motion, not just the color. And so that's what I want to focus on here, is going to be the motion. And in order to do that, we're going to turn off some of those place labels. So what I want you to watch for is a swirling area. Do you see any swirling areas on this water vapor? There's at least 2 of them. So the first one is, let me get my arrow to draw, right up here. And that swirl is actually moving off toward the north and east. So that's the upper level system that's trying to move this line of rain eastward. You know, if this upper system were moving eastward, we'd get this line of rain out of here. But it's not moving eastward, it's moving northeastward. So it's kind of just that trailing line of showers just continues to kind of follow that motion. You can literally see the moisture following up that way. So how can we get this out of here? Well, we got to look out west. There's another swirl near the Four Corners region. Did you know that it's called the Four Corners region, this zone right here? I'll give you a guess why it's called that. It's the intersection of Utah, Colorado, New Mexico, and Arizona. And there's a corner right in the middle of it. So those 4 states kind of called the Four Corners region, if you've ever heard of that before. And literally right where that is happening is we see the other swirl on the map. So that one's located right about here. And right now it's not moving very much, but by the time we get to tomorrow, that one is going to begin to move straight off to the east. And that's going to kick this line of rain away, helping us to dry out and cool down, pushing a cold front into the region actually as we go into Saturday night and Sunday. So that's how we can get to that change. But before that happens, we're just in this kind of slow, kind of stalled pattern where we have a mix of sun and clouds locally on the coast, but we're of course watching some of those pop-up showers this morning, and then we have some of those heavier downpours off toward the north. Now, like I said, there are some showers and storms. There have actually been some tornado warnings with some of that activity north of us near Hattiesburg, but down along the coast, haven't really seen any tornado warnings in our 6 southernmost counties. That doesn't mean that we might not get any. I do think we have a risk of getting some of those as we go into parts of today, tonight, and tomorrow. And so here's one thing that I want to bring to your attention. The people who issue tornado watches, who issue severe thunderstorm watches, they're called the Storm Prediction Center. And they're letting us know that it's a possibility that a new watch could be issued across parts of Mississippi. Now, fortunately, that does not appear that it will affect us down here along the coast too much, although it might come close to Pearl River County. We'll see. But also, another piece of fortunate information is that the chance of them issuing a watch is actually pretty low. They actually think it's unlikely that they're going to issue one. It's only a 20% chance for the Storm Prediction Center to issue a new watch. So that's good. That means maybe we won't get a new watch within the short term, but we still have another 24 hours, 24 to 30 hours that we could see that change. So there's a look at the risk map. You see this all the time, right? You rate the risk of severe weather on a scale from 1 to 5. The higher the number means the higher the probability of actually seeing severe weather, damaging storms and such. And in South Mississippi, we've seen this level kind of increase for our Friday night. It's now a 2 out of 5. And tomorrow down to a 1 out of 5 as those lingering storms finally slowly but surely move out of the area. If we break down these different hazards, the risk of tornado, South Mississippi, we are in the bullseye for this, right? We are in the greatest area, which is still on the low end, right? It's a low risk. So somewhere in here, there could be some isolated tornadoes. And wouldn't you know it, there actually have already been 2 confirmed tornadoes in this area. We just showed you on the map earlier this morning. I think I can manually plot them. One of them was to the northeast of Jackson. Another of them was to the west of Hattiesburg. It's not the exact placement of those, but it just gives you the idea that they've already been, so the forecast has already proven true in regards to that risk of tornadoes. Now, there will also be the potential for some isolated reports of damaging wind gusts somewhere in that yellow area. That also includes us here in coastal Mississippi. Now, that doesn't mean when there's damaging wind gusts that we're going to just see a whole bunch of them right along the coast. Maybe we see one of them near Jackson. Maybe we see one of them near Montgomery, but they're going to be isolated somewhere in that yellow zone. There could be one of them or less, I think, on the coast, but don't expect to see a whole bunch in that yellow area, only isolated. Finally, the risk of hail that could reach the size of a quarter or larger, which is the size it takes to cause damage, that seems to be even lower. It's actually our lowest probability out of any of this stuff. We have a level 1 out of 5 out of that. So if there's any hail, it's probably more likely going to be closer to Lake Charles, closer to Shreveport. Might not have any in this brown area. That does include southern Mississippi. But even if there is, it would only be probably 1 report of that or less. Now, as you time out your Friday, this is a look at your Friday at a glance. And as you can see, there's a higher rain chance, right? I mean, we're going from 40 to 50% this morning to 60 to 70% heading into Friday afternoon. And I think that's when we're going to see the majority of the thunderstorm development into the PM hours, because that's when we see more daytime heating, which allows for and really fuels the thunderstorm development. So that's your takeaway. Hit or miss showers this morning, thunderstorms developing into the PM hours, and we're carrying a high rain chance with us through tomorrow. It's not going to be a continuously high chance, but on and off before a cold front arrives on Saturday. Now, as you can see, the rain potential the next 3 days, it really focuses and hammers hard on Pearl River County. I think near Poplarville and Picayune, we do have where you are under that flood watch, as well as Hancock County. You could see rain totals around 3 inches or higher. Elsewhere, probably going to see rain amounts up to about 2 inches. And you can see that the day that you see this kind of, remember we showed you the stalled kind of slow motion of rain. That's where you can really get the rain totals to pile up. And so that's why you see that mostly today into tonight. Once we get to tomorrow, things are going to be on the move. They're not going to just sit and kind of, you know, repeat rounds on and off. They're just, on Saturday, we just kind of get one push of rain moving in from the west, and then we're done when the cold front arrives. And then you can take a look at Sunday. Behind the front, air turns drier. It will also turn cooler and feel like January. So if you're wondering, you know, what are our chances of seeing tornadoes in South Mississippi? What are our chances of seeing severe weather and such? Well, here's a look at them. Your greatest probability in the 6 southernmost counties actually is seeing flooding, because that's at a medium probability. And like I said, many of us seeing up to 2 inches of rain, some of us with those higher amounts, especially near Pearl River County with the higher amounts. As far as the damaging wind gusts, that is approaching medium as far as my estimation. So, you know, some thunderstorms, maybe 1 or 2 of them, could produce wind gusts that could top 50 or 60 miles an hour, those straight line wind gusts. Tornadoes, a few could be possible. We've already seen thunderstorms this morning produce confirmed tornadoes in parts of Mississippi. Fortunately, on the coast, we've been spared from that, but it's not a guarantee that we will continue to be spared from that. So we do need to monitor that as we go into our Friday night time frame, if not into parts of Saturday. But like I said earlier, the risk of large hail, that still appears to be pretty low. So as we put it all together for you, here's a look at your takeaways for this event. Showers and thunderstorms, some of them could be strong to severe. So you do want to be sure to monitor things closely, as well as with the risk of flooding rain. That's going to be something that we monitor closely as well. The timing, thunderstorms developing from this afternoon, really from midday today into the afternoon and evening hours and overnight, is going to be on and off, not continuous, but on and off rounds of these showers and storms, with multiple rounds into Saturday. And then a cold front arrives on Saturday, and that's how we dry things out and cool things down Saturday night and Sunday. You know, if you're wondering if you're going to get some alerts for your area, the best way to stay up to date is to have our First Alert Weather app. If you don't have that downloaded, you can get it on the Google Play Store, on the App Store. It's a free app to download to your device. It really is helpful on days when there's active weather, on days when there are alerts coming out. It kind of gives you an advantage over everyone else, right? If you have this on your device, you're already one step ahead of everyone else as you're taking advantage of those real-time notifications, getting those weather alerts exactly when they come out, the first alert for you. There's video forecasts that our weather team routinely puts into that app, and if there's ever a situation when we're going live for a tornado warning or a severe thunderstorm warning, you can actually watch our live stream with the weather app as well. And of course the radar, if you want to track the storms yourself, you can open that First Alert radar map and take a look at your town, your county, your community, your street, and see how much rain is there, or you can switch it to future radar and see how much rain is coming. So once we get past Saturday, then we're done with the rain chances, and we're getting a stretch of dry weather. We're going to also get a stretch of cooler weather. Sunday, the high temperature might not even hit 60, so that could be a shock to the system as we get a quick return to January. And cold Monday morning. You can see a 35-degree temperature on this for Monday morning. Now that's for the coast. It might actually be near freezing inland, so it could be even colder for some of our areas that are north of I-10. So a cold Monday morning, 35, and several days into next week with kind of more of a January feel. So something to keep in mind for you as we go into next week. Going to be drier, cooler, but for now, we do still have that risk of showers and storms into your Friday and Saturday. So you want to pay close attention to the weather into the next 24-30 hours. Well, that'll do it for today's edition of Waking Up with Wesley. I've been Senior Meteorologist Wesley Williams. We'll see you again next time.
Thank you for watching Waking Up with Wesley with WLOX First Alert Weather Senior Meteorologist Wesley Williams.